Trays, check. Pots, check. Water, check. Herbs, check. Labels, check. Pen, check. This morning I switched off the propagator. All housebound seedling growing over. So that's good. It means that the next seeds I sow will be for autumn. So we can focus now right on summer. So these are the various basil, thyme and sage that I put into the propagator. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 varieties of basil, 1 thyme, 1 sage and another thyme here. And I'm going to pop these up. I'm going to put the basil into clusters and we'll get them into the polytunnel, and that'll be sowing for the spring over. Well, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. 10,000 views this week. That was the landmark. And that's pretty amazing. When I started the channel back in December last year, I didn't think in my wildest dreams that 10,000 people would want to watch my content, but they did, which is great. And hopefully I can continue my 2 weekly uploads of videos about my plot and the passion that I have for growing things and tending to the plot. People have commented from all over the world, and I've made a few friends, people who comment regularly, and I thank them all for being involved and encouraging me. It's been great fun, and hopefully it will continue. If you are one of those viewers that watches regularly and enjoys the content, then press the subscribe button and hit the bell so that you get updates whenever I post them. As much encouragement as I can get, I welcome. So thanks for thinking about it. Well, it's a beautiful day today. Far less wind, no rain so far, which is great, and a few things to do. When I was on the plot yesterday, I got a bit concerned about the garlic. Now, of course, that's the garlic that I said is the best I think I've grown, and that was the kiss of death, because this garlic, well, we've got some seed heads on it. That's not the end of the world. I've taken one up and they're okay now. They're good enough to harvest. But we've got this horrible orange infection on the leaves, which of course is rust. And rust is within the plants and is a virus. And it doesn't mean you can't eat the garlic, but it does kill the leaves and stops the bulb underneath from growing any further. So it's a decision now as to whether or not I harvest that garlic. The other thing about rust is that it does spread, and you can see it's on this variety as well, and not quite so prolific on this. And that is the case. Rust can be different on different varieties of garlic, and of course it affects the allium species. So there's a risk around onions, which I have over there, and leeks, which I have up there. So big decision. Do I take it all out, or do I take some of it out? This variety at the end, which is a different variety, has also got signs of it. Now, the ideal environment for rust to proliferate is moisture and damp, and of course we've had that over the last week or so, and the rust has just appeared and started to work its damage. So it just shows how quickly it can establish, and I think on balance it's time to take these up. Probably take these up and maybe have a look at these to see what sort of size the bulb is. So that's next on my agenda. So here we go. Let's get these garlic bulbs up and see what we've got underneath. Yeah, that's a decent sized garlic bulb, and it would have got bigger, but I think on balance, if I get this harvest out and bulbs of that size, that's going to be more than enough for our needs. So I think that's the plan. Now, I'm a no-dig gardener, but these garlics are really very deep and quite hard to get out with the fork, so I'm going to ease them with the fork. Yep, really nice bulb, and I think these will turn purple as they dry. So these are a bit small for my liking, so I'm going to leave the rest of those, and that's a fair few out. And I think if nothing else, I would have preserved those before the worst of the rust spread, and I'm going to use this bed straight away to put some more Swedes in. So out of that third of the bed, there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 really substantial garlic, which I'll probably keep some of for growing next year. And there's 5 what I would call medium-sized garlic bulbs, and 2, 4, 6, 8 much smaller ones. So I'll get the roots off of those, probably cut away the really rusty leaves, and start the drying process in the shed. So there we go, 1/3 of the crop processed, and they're now going to the shed and hopefully dry out over the next couple of weeks, and we'll keep an eye on the balance of the garlic and make the right decision about when to harvest. Scamp's helping me today. Right, Scamp. So I'm going to get those Swede out of the polytunnel, but I just wanted to show you the tomatoes. So I've left the tomatoes 3 days without picking out the shoots, and I thought I'd have a look this morning, and there we are. There's one there, there's a tiny one in there, there's one to come out of there. It's just amazing. You take these shoots out almost every day to prevent those side shoots growing into an unshapely bush. And as I've said before, there is no real reason for doing this other than keeping the bushes to the shape that you want. If you were to allow them to grow, then they would just form a strong additional branch which would also fruit, and whilst you might not have a shapely bush at the end of it, you probably have just as much fruit, if not more. So the objective really in a polytunnel like this is to keep control of the shape and size, and that's quite important because I think in this sort of environment that gives you the most productivity. Looking at the beefsteak, there we are, we've got one in there. Nothing much in that one, and a few tiny ones in there which are easier to pull out when they get a bit older. So it's Swede planting into that bed where I've just taken out 1/3 of the garlic, and these are the Swedes which are healthy and looking good, and we'll take those out and put a few additional ones in the bed. So I'm just going to remove any debris from this bed. I've disturbed it quite a lot taking the garlic up, so I don't want to do much else other than water it. So I'm going to get these Swede in and give them a good water in, and then we're good to go. And I'll add the mulch to this when I get to the autumn, and of course the Swede will be quite well formed then, and I'll probably just mulch around them so that when I take them out I can spread the mulch in the gaps, and effectively I've mulched at the latter part of the year rather than leaving it too late. So I'm going to go 3 deep and 4 across. Now that's quite dense planting for Swede, and of course it will result in a smaller edible bulb or root, and that's intentional in this case because there are times when we don't want a big Swede, we're not making a stew or something of that ilk, and we just want a small amount of Swede. And these will be great because they'll be just 1 mil per Swede sort of size, so that's the intention. So I'm planting these just at the same level as a pot really, and making sure I get good contact for the roots and pushing them down, firming them in. And once I've watered them, they'll get away fine. The lettuce in the polytunnel now are growing faster than we can eat them. So a bit of a change of strategy. I now look to see whether they're at the point where they're likely to bolt, and you can see that this one and this one are. This one's not too far away. They're beautiful healthy plants, but rather than harvest now from the base, I'll take the whole lettuce and we'll take from it what we want to eat, and we'll give the balance to the chickens, and then I'll plant a new lettuce, of which there are many in the spares in the cold frame, and then they'll come on and be the next tranche, and that will use up the 20 or so lettuce that I've got in the cold frame. So that'll see us through for the next few months, and then I just have to decide at what point I sow a few extras and have them in the autumn. So we'll look forward to lots of lovely lettuce over the coming weeks. It's been a good couple of months that I've been able to spend as much time as I need on the allotment, and as of next week I return to work part-time, and the amount of time I can spend on the allotment will reduce. So that means I have to just juggle things and rebalance, but it's been a great opportunity to get oodles of work done, and I've done a lot more groundwork than I would have expected to have done this year. And hopefully now we're just on the growing and harvesting phase, and then getting into autumn we'll reassess what needs to be done and how much time we can spend. So that's the way it is, and we'll adapt accordingly. So I'm going to sign off for today. We've got a lot done this morning, which is great, and once again I'd just like to say a huge thank you to everybody for those 10,000 views, and here's to the next 10,000. Thank you. I do hope you enjoyed the video today. If you did, click the subscribe button, click the like button, and if you want updates from me each time I upload a video, click the bell and select all. I do hope you have a great day. Diolch yn fawr.